red prairie dog, white rabbit. Oh, that was a flinch. And let's just go bowling. All right, 10 for 11. The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0, some people will call it the 2.0. I was in Ann Arbor Arms the other day, and they just happened to have this sitting in the case. Not a huge fan of flat dark earth, or whatever you want to call that color, on a pistol, but I guess it's sort of growing on me. But this one did have the manual safety on it, which is what I kind of like, and you can see that it's optics ready with taller sights, all of which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Stay with me. M&P 2.0 compact, and if you've watched any of my recent videos, you know that after shoulder surgery I need something that I can shoot left hand, which means I need ambidextrous, and you also know that I happen to like thumb safeties, being basically a 1911 guy, and this checks most of those boxes. A minor problem with the ambidextrous slide stop lever, which we'll talk about in a minute, but a lot of things I like about this. Again, it comes with 4 back straps. The medium is on it. Comes with a small, a medium large, and a large. I've tried them all. I happen to like the medium. It happens to fit my hand real well. Also comes with a couple of magazine spacers, and I'm presuming that these are for using the full-size magazine instead of the compact magazine. But you also know my complaint about Smith & Wesson spacers. If you go back to my CSX video, I'll post that up here, and how I solved it. And the Smith & Wesson spacers just kind of slide over the magazine, and if you carry it with a spacer, sometimes that magazine can slide down a little bit, and you end up grabbing it and trying to reload. You can end up easily getting pinched in there. So I did have a fix for that with my CSX, but I'm not using them right now because 15 plus 1 is adequate capacity. It does have the Smith & Wesson fish scale type slide serrations on it. I get reasonable traction on it, and these do extend down into the flared area of the frame right above the rail area, which I do like. Great for a press check, plenty of traction. Little bit of almost a venting right here, but that's because the chassis has to have the window where you can see the serial number, since the internal chassis is the serialized part of this gun. And that's right above a 3-slot pick rail, and all of this on a polymer frame, usual Smith & Wesson takedown, and ambidextrous slide stop lever, which I do need to talk about. So we lock the slide back, take the magazine out, and if I'm shooting this, in fact I tried shooting this, I've shot it a lot left-handed, but I tried to work the slide left-handed, and I am not able to pull down on that slide stop lever from the right side. With my index finger left-handed on the left side, I can pull it easily. So the slide stop or slide release lever on the right is not working well for that. It's only working as a slide stop. The magazine release is reversible. Instructions in the owner's manual on how to do that. Ambidextrous safety, and this safety is usable. I can actually get my thumb on it from both sides, not like the the old original Shield that has a pretty much useless thumb safety, which a lot of people don't use, and that can be a problem if you haven't trained to it. There's a fix to that. In fact, I did a video on that if you're at all curious. Let's see, it has the new 2.0 trigger on it. The flat face trigger with a usable trigger safety. Again, that's only a drop safety, not a real safety. And that's an improvement over the hinged, at least for some people, it's an improvement over the hinged trigger. Interestingly, on the Smith & Wesson website, it still shows the 2.0 available with the hinge trigger or with the flat trigger. And it even shows a different SKU for them, but when you go down to the bottom of the page, the web page, it only shows the models with the flat face trigger, although you can still find some of the hinge trigger models on the website, or actually on sale at dealers, whatever. If The gun also comes optics ready. It comes with 7 different optics plates, and it even comes explaining which optics plate goes for which screws you use, the whole bit. So good information in that, good complete documentation, which I do like. And it does appear that the 3-dot sights are high enough to be co-witnessing with an optic, depending on which optic you put on there. I haven't decided if I'm going to or not yet. Debating. If I do, I may go with the new Swamp Fox Sentinel, but we'll have to see. Comes with 2 magazines. They are 15 rounds, so the gun is 15 plus 1, 16 round total capacity, and it does compare favorably with a couple of old stalwarts. Number 1, of course, is the Glock 19, which is also a 15 round capacity, or 15 plus 1, and as you can see, these guns are empty. Size wise, they are about the same length, about the same barrel length. Now, a little longer sight radius on the Smith, just because of where it's placed on the slide. Not a huge difference, but just a little. The guns are, I've got to try not to bang them together here. Somebody always complains when I bang my guns together. So they're about the same height, about the same width. And one thing you will notice, though, is you can get just a little higher grip up on the Glock than you can on the Smith & Wesson. And bore access to a point is overrated. The difference in bore access between the Glock and the Smith is negligible, in my opinion. Also, Glock, of course, doesn't have a, at least this one, this is a Gen 4, does not have a pick rail on it, whereas the Smith does. Another favorable comparison would be the 320. This is my Sig. Did a video on that a while back, but again, the 320 is going to be roughly the same width as the, and of course this is actually an M17 chassis in there. That's why we got the safeties on it. Plus the same width as the Smith, or excuse me, as the Smith, but it's just a little bit taller, even though it's still only 15 plus 1. Of course, this also has a Wilson grip module on it, but that doesn't change the height at all. It is a little thicker in the front than the Smith & Wesson, and does sit higher, much higher in the hand. So again, you get that higher bore access, although I haven't had any issues with this one shooting like that. The weights are a little bit different. The Smith & Wesson here comes in at 33.2 ounces. That is loaded with 116 rounds, 124 grain ammunition. The Glock 19 is the lightweight of the 3, comes in at 31.3 ounces loaded up. Again, that's for the Gen 4. My Sig 320 comes in at 34.1, so it's slightly heavyweight. So this kind of falls in between, 2 ounces heavier than the Glock, an ounce heavier than the Sig. Again, the rail will certainly accommodate a light. If you want to put a light on your concealed carry gun, not sure why you'd want to do that, but there are always people who think they need to have a light on it so they can identify their target, which also then means they're pointing a gun at a target they haven't identified. Which, I don't want to get any more into that, but as a home defense gun, it'll work, although for a home defense gun, you might want something a little bit bigger. But if you only have one gun, and you can pop the light off, obviously, for concealed carry, and pop it back on for your home defense. I do want to talk a little bit more about the hinge trigger on this. Again, that's just a drop safety on the front. It doesn't interfere with my finger at all. And again, this gun is unloaded. A little bit of, well, actually a lot of take up. And there's a little glitch, right? I don't know if you can hear it or not on the microphone, but certainly feel it right there. It doesn't bother me when I shoot it at all, but once you get to past that, there's very little movement through the wall and no over travel. It does have an over travel bump right there, which I like, which keeps the trigger from going back too far. And reset is fairly long. I can feel it, but I really can't hear it right there. It's just barely audible. This trigger pulls at 3 pounds, 14.4 ounces, and not a bad trigger at all compared to some of the other Smith triggers. Just that little glitch right there I don't like. But again, if I'm shooting fast enough, it really doesn't bother me. And if I'm shooting precise enough, it really doesn't bother me. So a usable trigger. Do I prefer this over the hinge trigger on the earlier Smiths? Yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. The main thing about the hinge trigger is I didn't have any over travel stop, so I did actually get some over travel with it. You'll also notice I've been carrying this in, I put it in the correct way, right? You're left-handed on this one. In the Muddy River Tactical outside the waistband holster. Came with a couple of different loops. I really want to thank Muddy River Tactical for sending this to me. I kind of reached out to them because I didn't have any left-handed holsters, and Muddy River is my go-to holster company. But they sent it with a couple of different kinds of loops. I got a combination of the two on here, which is how it seems to fit best for me. This is their Aztec print, and the gun fits just like every other gun has always fit in Muddy River Tactical. Again, my go-to holster company. Does everything protecting the magazine release, and certainly does a great job of protecting everything else. Optics cut, and this is my now left-hand holster for as long as I have to shoot left-handed, which is going to be a little while yet. So I'm going to roll some footage in here on how this thing shoots, and again, I've done everything left-handed with this just because my right hand is still not up to, even though I've got my support or my sling off and can use my right hand more now after the shoulder surgery. I don't want to put any more impact on it yet, so I'm still doing everything left-handed, but even left-handed, this gun does shoot fairly well. This is not the way to sight a pistol in, because I'm doing it one-handed, offhand, not from a rest. In case you can't tell, back up a little bit here, the right arm, which is my dominant arm, is going to be a little bit disabled. So, trying to manipulate the slide stop lever from the right side, not working. Left side, much easier, so I can do that with my index finger. Alright, top target here at 15 yards, 124 grain hand loads, iron sights. You know, I probably ought to quit right there. Those are going to the same place. That's because I'm not having any recoil control with my right hand, so the gun's going to naturally rotate to the right for a left-handed shooter. All right, last shot. First shot and last shot right where I wanted them. But again, lack of recoil control. Okay, 115 grain blazer brass, lower right-hand target here at 15 yards. Yeah, I definitely felt like I pulled that one. Looks like I pulled the second one too. That's not right. All right, I can live with that so far. Let's see what the 124 grain HSTs will do. Bottom left target. Yeah, I know it's not straight, but a circle is a circle is a circle. Forget the lines. All right, HSTs are a little bit looser. Again, I'm going to blame that on me shooting one hand, left hand. By the way, you hear the terms strong hand, weak hand. I'm right-handed, and people will call that my strong hand. Well, after 6 weeks in this sling and shoulder surgery, my dominant hand, my right hand, is going to be less strong than my secondary hand, what some people call my weak hand. So my weak hand will be my strong hand. That's why I hate those terms, strong hand, weak hand. Primary hand or dominant hand, secondary hand or support hand. And let's go for the raccoon on the right, white with a little brown tint around him. All right, got him on the left side. Can I get the red crow next to him? Yeah, looks like I barely nicked him. Let's try that one more time. Okay, so I was shooting a little bit low to start with, aiming a little low. Can I get the head flipper, the white head flipper on the black silhouette? Struggling a little left-handed. Let's just see where it's hitting on the black silhouette itself, if I can see that from here. Alright, that hit quite a bit to the left. Don't know why it went to the left, but so let's adjust my point of aim on the white head flipper. There we go. Alright. Just got to figure out where to hit it now. Can I get it back? Okay. Get it dialed in. It's a signal. I'm coming out cold, so let's try 50 with the silver gong. Okay, got that. How about the 16-inch high right? Come on, I'm still struggling under 50. There we go. Let's try the 12-inch below that. try the 10-inch, just to the left of the 16. Now, some of you are going to say, since I went from an angled sight alignment to an almost vertical sight alignment, that made a difference. Maybe it did. I think some of that is how the gun torques in my hand. Let's try the 8-inch, white with a black center, under the 10. Here we go on the last. So Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 or 2.0 if you want to combine a letter and a number. Does everything I wanted to do, works real well. I'm even happy with the trigger the way it is. Does the job for me, does everything that I need at a reasonable price. All right, thanks for dropping in while we took a look at the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 4-inch barrel compact.